Coming up, people are going to think this isn't true. But if you look on my Instagram, there is a highlight, and the highlight is called Bomb.
When we tried to mould it, it was like, it was as if we were like putting him into a car seat, age 1.
My husband was like, audience.
Harriet Kemsley.
Yeah.
What an introduction.
I know.
My friend did a tarot card reading on me and she was like, you're holding on to something about your ex.
Hi everyone and welcome back to the podcast. It feels like just yesterday we were talking about the summer holidays and now can you believe it's already October?
I know. Spooky season is officially here. The leaves are changing. The jumpers are out and we're getting ready all things Halloween.
And speaking of Halloween, we have some fantastic news. We are so excited to announce that we are being sponsored by Card Factory this month. We're planning a massive Halloween extravaganza at the end of October and we can't wait to share all the spooky fun with you.
Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be huge. So keep your eyes peeled for all the treats and maybe a few tricks too. But now let's dive into the week. So Hannah, how's your week been?
Well, it's been good. I've had a good positive week because the kids are in a routine.
Nice.
So I feel like mentally that's good for me. I feel like I've been a little bit harsh with my middle child this week because I've got 2 older boys. I've been passing everything of Bradley's, like pass it down to Logan. And one of those items this week was a gum shield. So we got one for Logan and we got one for Bradley. And when we tried to mould it, it was like, it was as if we were like putting him into a car seat, age 1. It was so dramatic. And you heat it up and you're like, so we've literally got 30 seconds before this is going to set. Like you need to get it in. So we're like clamping the gum shield. It's like, listen, I'm doing this to protect your gnashers. I'm not doing this for me. But if somebody hits a ball, a hockey stick or ball into your face, I'm protecting the teeth. You only get 1 set of teeth. So brush them and look after them. Anyway, I thought the other day, I was like, I'm so disorganized. For some reason, it's just not happening for me with being organized at the minute. I'm forgetting what days they need to have PE. Honestly, it's been the worst organisation from me. I went to the school shop and bought everything, but I thought, oh my God, I haven't got Logan a gum shield and he needs one for school. Yeah. So I thought, well, I know where Bradley's is. What happens if I reheat it and try and remold it onto his gob? Oh. Honestly, I think I traumatized him. They don't remold, right? So Logan had to take it to school where it was like half his older brother's teeth, half his teeth. But Logan's only lost 2 teeth. And by that age, Bradley had lost like a lot. So there was like a few gaps in it. So I thought, you know, when they lose, like my eldest lost 4 teeth at once. It was like spitting everywhere, like we would do after a bottle of Prosecco. And I tried, I thought it would work really well for Logan, but there was just gummage on this thing. So I was trying to shove it in his mouth. And anyway, he was like, I'm going to wear it to school and like try and mold it in myself. It just didn't work. Like it didn't fit. His teeth are like here and then the gum shield was there, just not fitting at all. And then as he was going to school, he had Bradley's old blazer on and it's all frayed around the edge. And it's like, we're not into the end of the first term of the academic year and he's got his brother's old frayed like jacket and jumpers. And then he's got a gum shield that doesn't fit him. And I'm like, I feel bad, but I'm going through that phase at the moment where my youngest, my 2-year-old, it's not a regression. I think lots of mums have said this throughout the seasons. Their sleep changes. And I've spoken to loads of mums that have 2-year-olds that have said, yeah, they're going through this phase of not sleeping. I'll go and check on Annabelle. And then I think, I know she's not settled yet. So I get back into bed and I think, oh, I can't sleep now. I've got things to think about. And then I go on my phone and then I don't know what happens. I go into this pit of purchasing stuff, but I don't remember I've done it until I get the confirmation email. Oh yes.
But don't you remember doing that when you were breastfeeding?
What's the worst thing you bought during the night when you were breastfeeding online?
I don't know, but I have bought some weird things. I've bought fake poo.
Why?
Why?
Why did you do that?
To prank like my own children. I did it to my father-in-law. It didn't go down very well. I got one of those, it looks like glasses smashed. So I put it on his windscreen of his car.
Oh, yeah.
And he's really precious about his car. So I put a smashed glass thing on his windscreen and I got a fake parking ticket.
I don't think I'd dare do that to my father-in-law because I don't know kind of
I learned my lesson very quickly.
Did you? You won't do it again.
My husband was like, wrong audience.
What's been your parenting fails this week?
Oh gosh. Do you know what? I actually want to talk about a parenting fail that happened not this week. Yeah. It's an old school one, but it is.
They're always the best though, aren't they?
But it's still quite, I mean, I think people are going to think this isn't true. But if you look on my Instagram, there is a highlight that you can see the story unfold. And the highlight is called Bomb.
Right.
So it was my son's birthday and we're getting ready for the day. We're having a party at home. And my husband's in the gardening, which didn't need to be done. You know, I'm doing everything. You know, I'm doing all the food and prepping and blowing up balloons, and my husband's trimming a bush that no one ever sees. And not that kind of bush. He comes running into the house, running in, and I'm like, was it a bee? And he says, no. It's like, no, it was a grenade. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
And he says, there's a grenade in our garden.
No. Because
he was shoveling and apparently he got a bit of earth and the grenade like rolled off his spade.
No.
Anyway, he calls the police and they say to him, police, ambulance or fire. And he's like, I think I might need all three. And within, I want to say a minute, police were at our front door and they come in and they're very much like, sorry, you've got a grenade in your garden. They go into the garden and they barely get to where the grenade is. And they do this like full like 180 twist and do that kind of like, you know, the emergency, evacuate.
Really?
And they were like, evacuate. And at the time I'm breastfeeding. And and you're just like, your mind goes into like flight or fight. Okay, fine. Grab what you need, leave the house. And they evacuated the entire street. The whole street was cordoned off. But the moment I walked out the house to leave, there was a bomb squad, a terrorist squad, more police vans. I mean, it was crazy. And the grenade was live. It was a live grenade.
Are you actually kidding?
It was live. And it had been in our garden for years where the kids were playing. I mean, you dread to think. And they found out that it was from like the Second World War because we lived in South London. It was just like, just been buried. In the meantime, I'm getting text messages on the WhatsApp from the mums going, we should have a play date. We should have a play date. I love a play date. I was just like, we have bombs in our garden, so we're not going to host any play dates for a while.
I thought you were going to say, all the kids that I don't like, bring them round. Jump up and down.
And honestly, I've never seen a WhatsApp chat go so kind of like dead.
And on that bombshell, shall we get our guest in this week, Louise?
Absolutely. It's going to be a bomb.
This week's guest is a comedy genius and a total legend of the mum life meets chaos scene. From roast battle to last one laughing, she's had us howling.
Absolutely. And now she's making us a laugh cry with stories about motherhood, divorce and dating again.
She's a dyspraxic vegan, terrified of bananas, allergic to raw veg, but somehow thriving as a touring comedian with a toddler. Please welcome the hilarious, honest and totally unfiltered Harriet Kemsley.
Yeah.
You were like that. What are they going to say next about me, weren't you?
What an introduction.
I know.
Wow.
I mean, I'm already, like, there's so many questions
when
in my head.
When you put it all together, it's really
brilliant.
a lot.
But welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Delighted to have you here. I'm just going to go straight in. Sorry, can you just tell me about the bananas?
I know, it's so dumb. I just don't trust them. There's just something about the skin and the way they hang over a waste paper basket. But I was driving a comic last night to a show and he started to eat a banana in the car and I was like, I can't believe this is happening. But I was like, don't mention it. And I didn't drive very well. And I think it might have been related
as well, or
it's just the way people, like adults, eat them. It just doesn't seem like something adults should do.
But kids can eat them.
Yeah, did you give it to your kid?
I do. You know when you have to try and hide and act like everything's fine, like with spiders, you're like,
yes,
a spider's fallen on me. This is great. Yeah. I'm so happy. There's a spider
and you're dying
on my head.
inside.
Yeah.
My sister's actually also extremely like cannot stand bananas, hates them. Everything about them. She hates them.
I'm not a freak.
But there are people now that are putting banana skin peel on their face. Apparently, it's a good form of skincare. Botox, apparently. It's natural Botox. Would you do that?
No, I'll just do regular Botox. I think I'll just stick with that. I think.
Pay a bit more money, it's fine.
Exactly, yeah.
So you've got a little girl.
Yes.
And how old is she?
She's going to be 4 in December.
Wow.
So, So, yeah.
Not quite at school yet.
No, next year. I'm looking at primary schools and stuff soon.
That's a big step.
How's that?
it feels so odd. Even just dropping her off for the last year of what's going to be nursery, I was emotional. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be like at the end of this.
Juggling everything for you, doing stand-up, evening gigs. It's always like prime time of needing to leave when it's bedtime. How do you juggle everything?
It is, I'm not going to lie, absolute chaos.
Yeah.
But yeah, because my ex is a comic, we didn't think that through in any way. Yeah, it was great
tough.
when we were together and we were dating and you're like, we can go out to gigs together and all this stuff. But once you have a child, you're like, we've f***ed up.
How do you balance co-parenting?
It's a journey. It's a real journey. I feel very proud of us because we've both put Mabel first, and we managed to get through the divorce without lawyers. Like, we just did it ourselves.
Amazing.
We like, the agreement was
lovely.
neither of us are going to be happy and we just have to suck it up. It was just like, this is the best thing. And then it's been a journey. I think at first we were like, we're going to stay best friends, and
is that you did the whole thing like best friends, we're going to keep living together and co-parenting?
yeah, living together lasted a week.
Okay.
We had to move in with a friend. But
we're not together.
Yeah.
Stop making a mess.
Yeah. But no, he was really good, and he moved out because he knew, like, I'm not so good with change, and he knew it was the best thing for us. So he was like very gracious with that.
It sounds really nice and amicable.
There's been a lot of times that you would not believe, but it's now amicable, and we're putting Mabel first, and that's always been the goal, is to put her first.
Yeah. And are you dating? Is that on the scene for you?
Yeah, I'm dating.
It took
so long.
What's it like? Yeah. So what's it like going back?
You said that was so much excitement.
I'm like living through you. Tell me what's it like.
We love the excitement. Tell us everything.
I think that's it. I think at first it didn't feel exciting because at first I was so confused. I was like, I thought I'd be married forever. I was like, my identity was like married lady, you know.
And can I ask, how long were you married for?
So I was married for 6 years, but we'd been together for like 11 to 12.
Oh, wow.
And so it was like, I met him when I was like 24, I think. And so it was like a big chunk of my life, like as an adult. And so I kind of thought that was what it would be. And so to suddenly be single again, I found it very confusing because I was like, also I'm a mother now. Like, I suddenly became like very prudish. Like, I was like an old married lady. And I was like, how dare you touch me, you know? And that's not really the vibe.
What we wanted to hear.
Willy at me.
That's not the vibe that you want, you know, when you're dating. It's like quite off-putting.
So, oh my God, she's so frigid. Yeah. Move on. Swipe.
I know this old married lady. But yeah, I'm not married. And I started a podcast with my friend Amy because she went through a breakup at the same time. And we literally went on the apps for the first time, on the podcast, and we started. It's so funny, like listening back to the first series. I mean, I can't listen back, but it's so embarrassing because we were just like, we'd just been in the relationships for so long. We just didn't know what it was like how to flirt or how to kiss somebody new. Like, it just all felt so overwhelming. And so the episodes are so embarrassing. We got one date between us in all of the first series. And it was just really pathetic. But now we've turned a corner, and
Talk us about your ex-partner's the fake one.
It's what is funny.
I just found that hilarious.
I literally just put it on Instagram like 2 days ago. I was meant to just be promoting. We've got a live show of our podcast, Single Ladies, and I just happened to mention it as just an aside. And all week people have been talking to me about it. You're like, for God's sake, stop mentioning things about just in passing.
Do you still have it?
No, it's gone. It's finally gone. I don't know why I kept on for so long.
Why
did I have it in the first place? Yes, good question. Very good,
really good question.
Good question, actually. So we did this TV show years ago called Pants on Fire for E4, and it was so fun. We did all these mad challenges. So we went to Mexico City and we took part in a lucha libre wrestling competition, and one of the challenges was that we got casts. I tattooed him, so he has a tattoo at the moment.
Really cool, actually.
Well, it's actually worked out. I've kind of scarred him forever. He has a tattoo that I did on his upper thigh of I've drawn myself and I've written my name underneath, and it's so bad because I'm not a tattoo artist. I didn't I got a brief training, but it looks like, on those primary school tea towels when they have a picture of a child is drawn. So he has that permanently on him. So apologies to any women, but it's me in the future. Brilliant. But he's permanently scarred. Anyway, one of the things we did was we got plaster cast spots.
But like,
I've actually lost
wrecked.
it somewhere. It's somewhere in the house.
It's somewhere in Clapham. You've lost your
Somewhere in the house. I've got it. I'm going to put that on my to-do list.
It's fine.
What if your daughter finds it and takes it to nursery for show and tell?
Oh God, yeah,
Oh
that
my
would
God,
be.
can you imagine?
I don't think they'd be
Was
surprised
it was
at
obviously
this point.
post-baby.
Pre-baby.
Okay, so
Oh, so it's probably nice.
Baby. Yeah, it's a nice reminder.
intense.
To be honest. Yeah.
This is what she used to look
was.
like.
Yeah.
Put it on the wall.
Go.
Reminder.
I found I got a new sofa. I found his particles behind the sofa, and then I was like, it was funny because my friend did a tarot card reading on me in February, and she was like, "You're holding on to something about your ex."
no,
I don't know what it is you're holding on to, and I was like, I don't think so. I'm all his stuff out, like I've got his DVDs out, I've got everything, and then I was suddenly like, it's his penis. It's his penis that's behind the sofa. That's what I've been holding on to. And so I took it out and I put it. I went to go put it. We have like
Where did you put it?
well, on the estate where I live, we have these bins. And I went to go put it, and then as I did it, it like dropped on my foot. So it was like, it's got me one
It just didn't want to leave, did it? One last time. You're like that. Just stamp on it. Off.
Yeah. And then it was broken into it, and I threw it in the
my
bin,
God.
and it felt very
Sorry,
free.
It's like the
When
thing
he-
that guys
yes.
get. Guys have like sports and holiday, don't they?
What do you mean?
So like when they do sport, it shrivels a little, but gets smaller. And then when they go on holiday, it just seems to get bigger and more like,
Like cold and hot.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So
You just said that as if it was something everyone knew.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
we were
like
like,
holiday dick.
Okay.
I've never heard of that one before.
So we need to know about your parenting fails.
Okay.
Do you have any? Please say you do.
Yeah, like constant.
Good.
Constant parenting fails. But it's more like a general, it's more just like everything is generally hard. Like I just find leaving the house. It's a bit like you know in like James Bond films when there's a villain, like he's trying to get away and like Jaws or something is like on his back, like pulling him off an aeroplane. Like because I'm dyspraxic and so it's hard enough for me to like get organized and get out. And then she is trying to derail me.
Yes.
An hour could have passed.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm still here. I don't understand. You haven't moved forward in any way.
Still haven't got your shoes on.
You
Come
don't
on.
know. Yeah, you'll get the shoes on, but then something else will come off and then
Yeah.
something will spill. And then what do you do?
That sounds
We
pretty
don't-
normal,
we don't
to be
know
fair.
either.
We don't know.
I think that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
The
that's very
dynamics.
normal.
And how do you split the time between yourself and your ex with your
So
daughter?
he's great. So she lives with me and then she stays with him one night a week at the moment. But he's really good and he'll like pick her up from nursery a couple of days and then we'll generally do like, he'll take her either like most of one Saturday or one Sunday. So it's pretty like split. And because of the chaos of our lives and not having proper jobs, it's sometimes like now she's in nursery full time, it's much easier, but it was a lot of like passing her back and forth. Like I have to go to this meeting, so you'll have to watch her. So it's like too much time with your ex-husband. Definitely. So thank God for nursery.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank God for nursery.
Yeah.
Saying about the fees.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thank
Oh my
God
God.
for nursery.
Yeah.
Is your daughter funny? Has she got a funny streak in her?
She's really funny and it's really stressful. Yeah, nursery.
Stressful.
Yeah, they keep saying at nursery she's going to go into stand-up and I'm like, the sciences. She's going to go into the sciences. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you in like a nursery WhatsApp chat? Is there one for nursery?
There isn't one for nursery. I've heard horror stories about primary school. And
Yeah, because when
coming.
she starts school,
You'll be
it's
asked to
coming.
join.
It's coming.
It's the constant chat of questions that has already been in an email.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
it's like people will say, has anyone seen Oscar's jumper?
Like that.
Anyone seen my plaster cast vagina? Anybody? I seem
Been
to have
looking
lost
for
it.
ages.
Exactly.
We're just going off piece here, guys, but I'm just looking for my badge. It's somewhere.
Yeah. Gosh.
Please help me.
Yeah, I think my Bobby is not. He's going to be an interesting addition to a parental WhatsApp group. When we first had her, we quite quickly I went back to doing stand up and they'd book us together on gigs. So like I would open and he'd close or vice versa, and then we'd bring Mabel with us to the clubs. Like they were amazing. They're so supportive. But
Wow.
while I was on stage, it kind of 9 p.m. in Soho, Bobby would push Mabel around Soho to get her to sleep. And once a woman nearly called the police because she thought he stole a baby. So he doesn't have the traditional look of maybe a father of nursery. So, I'm excited for when he joins a WhatsApp group for sure.
Oh God.
And how do you think you'll find it, as obviously you know each other, but you were together for a long time, you know, as she gets older, having that conflict between, like when you're at home, if I say, like to my husband, like, oh, I wouldn't have said that, or, oh, you're a bit harsh with him then. How do you think your co-parenting journey will continue in terms of, like, if you have a bit of conflict, are you both fairly understanding with each other for you to say, listen, I might not have done it like that, or why did you dress her like that? Do you ever have those scenarios?
Yeah, I think definitely. And he's very open-minded, which I really like. And he'll sometimes say things in ways that I maybe come from quite a traditional upbringing, and so I do quite like his opinions on things quite a lot. But yeah, I think often those kind of things maybe have to be handled by text when you're far away. That's what I've learned.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Text when you're far away, the day afterwards when you've had a moment, and then you text. In person, in the moment is bad.
It's really hard though, isn't it, as a parent, when you've got completely different viewpoints on something, whether you're together or not. It's like, you know, everyone's had different upbringings. So what I deem as being normal is completely different to what my husband deems as being normal, even though we've kind of had similar upbringings. Actually, we haven't. Like traditionally we may have done, but the ways I approach things is very different. So I imagine if we were kind of living sort of separate lives, sometimes I'd be thinking, and it would just, because it's the most precious things in your entire life, your child. And it's like, it's like, no, don't do that. And it's amazing how you can just lose perspective so quickly over something so small that is, in the bigger picture, it's really irrelevant.
I think that's it. I think it's really hard to let go of control.
Yes.
When she goes with him, like I'll often be like, just I know you don't need to hear this, but just don't take your eyes off her for a minute. And when you're driving, just drive really safe. And he'll be like, "This is fine." Like it's fine. But I'm like, I just have to say it.
Yeah. Let's talk about your dyspraxia. Tell us about that, please.
Yeah. I've always been very clumsy and a bit. I've always felt a bit more confused than other people. Like I would get things wrong, and at school, like I once got banned from doing homework because I'd always just lose the sheets, and like she took it personally, but it would just be I just couldn't seem to hold on to things or organize myself very well. And then when I was I think just before I turned 30, my sister was like, I was watching Embarrassing Bodies last night, and I think you might have the same thing as the woman on it. And I was like, that is not a sentence you ever want to hear. Where is she going with this? And she was like, this woman had dyspraxia, and I think you might have it. And then she was like, there's this test, and we were at dinner, and it was like this clapping test thing, and she did it on me, and I knocked over 2 glasses in the process. And she was like, yeah, I think you got it.
Wow.
And so I had to get tested, and it was just a really helpful thing to kind of give myself a bit of grace, I guess, and a bit more understanding of myself.
And so what does it mean?
It just means I'm very clumsy. Like sometimes my body is moving in ways that no one can predict. Even I have no control. And some days, what's interesting with it is that I think some days are definitely worse than others. Like Bobby always used to call it, like I'd be having a dyspraxic day, and suddenly everything would kind of pile up, and it would get worse. And like if everything is it's very interesting because I used to like not have systems for anything, and now I've got so much better at it. I have a place for everything, and life is much more controlled and easier, but like I have to really stay on top of things.
Yeah, especially with a toddler.
Get overwhelmed.
Like, have you hosted a birthday party for Mabel?
Yeah, so I just do. The last few years I've done it at mine because it's quite near Christmas. It's quite a nice kind of time, and then I put up a kind of. I got a tiny garden, but like a little tent thing kind of in the garden. And it's been really, it's like chaos, but I do also love it. Yeah. It's a real mix between being the most stressed you've ever been in your whole life.
Absolutely. It's so stressful to a point where your knickers are sweaty, but you're still like, I really like this, actually. Not the sweaty
and I
knickers,
I want to do this for her.
But like, actually, this is really fun, actually. And it's a memory for her. It's core memories. But do you, because your daughter's birthday is quite close to Christmas, do you just crack on with that, or do you do like a half birthday as well? And
that's it. Like
some people do.
I know, but the half birthday, you're like, I just don't know if anyone cares. You know, like if you got invited to a half birthday, you might be a bit like, yourself, you know, like
I was invited to a half birthday as a grown up.
No.
What?
Like, her actual birthday wasn't even, it was like December 2nd or something.
I've never even heard of a half birthday.
Yeah, she had a half
party.
birthday. And it was a bit peculiar. And I was like, look, if you want a night out, just say you want a night out.
Make for a
That's
drink.
it, I know. And so maybe in the future we'll have like little things for her in the summer, but it's what's really stressful. You just have to be really on it, because that whole month everyone gets all their seeing their friends and their families and their events. I have to like plan it now so that there's a date.
How do you deal on an evening if your daughter's having like one of those screaming tantrums and you're on your own? How do you find that like bedtime routine if she's like kicking off a bit? How do you cope?
That's something I had the other last month. Like work was so busy and I was just like not getting much sleep. And I think what's the hardest is sometimes if she's really upset in the middle of the night and you're on your own. I find that quite hard, because there's nobody to kind of have. You don't have a partner that can help with it, but also
to literally kick on the like it's your turn.
Yeah, but also it's helpful because there's no one to argue with. You know, when things just get really heightened and the baby's upset and things escalate, there's none of that. Yeah, it's just down to me, and that there's a kind of freedom in that you just get on with it.
Yeah, I find sometimes if my husband's not there, my kids will follow instruction better than when he is there. And I don't know if that's because of dynamic, they can play us off against each other. And they know with me, it's like, right, it's bedtime. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm like, no, bedtime. But then friends of mine whose parents have separated, they very much play the parent off the other parent. And they'll be like, well, mum said I could do that. Or I did that the other day with my mum. And they're like, no, you didn't. And then they're not going to message the partner to be like, did they or not? So then the kids just like absolutely bawling, getting away with stuff. But I guess that's a communication between the parents, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that we've really like been like is that we both like we do presents together at the moment, at least, so that everything is equal. It's not that somebody is doing more or less. It's like a joint kind of thing, which I think it's just everything is like what's best for her. Like that's the most important thing, that we're not competing in any way.
And did you have a good pregnancy, good birth?
No. Did anybody?
Did anybody enjoy it? You know, these women that say they have orgasms in labour.
Oh, I know. I know. Can you imagine?
No, I can't. That's the most. That's the least orgasmic thing I think I've ever experienced I think it's in my life.
Very small. In fact, if anyone's listening, if anyone knows anyone or has actually experienced an orgasm during labour, I'd love to know how it was.
Yeah. You're going to say how it felt then.
No orgasm for me. Just the regular birth. It was. I found it very stressful. Being pregnant, it was hard to. I found it very hard to relax. It was just like holding your breath the whole time. Like I was just so worried about everything. And looking back, I wish I could have enjoyed it more. But it's just so hard to relax with it. I loved doing stand-up, like I did live at the Apollo when I was pregnant with her, and that felt really special. Like it was something really nice, and it was kind of fun because audiences I think aren't used to seeing many pregnant women on stage, so it felt kind of empowering, and like I had a real like heft behind me like with it, and so I liked that. Giving birth was very stressful. It wasn't during the beginning of the pandemic, but it was when at Christmas time in 2021, when it felt like everything was going to shut down again.
Christmas did cancel. Christmas was cancelled that year.
It wasn't. It was the one where it seemed like it was going to be cancelled, and so everyone was having these like crazy parties. Oh, you cancelled? Yeah.
I just voluntarily cancelled.
Yeah, I think some did get cancelled, and it was like in that build up where it was like everyone was just going crazy and like getting really drunk. So they were like, we don't know what's going to happen, so let's just go for it. And so I was pregnant. I was still trying to gig, but I remember I did this gig at a private members club, and everyone was so drunk, and I was like due in like 10 days or something.
Oh my
and this woman just like kissed me on the head, and there was like pandemic, and you're like, you know, when you're like,
my
if I get COVID, I might like my partner might not be able to be with me or like, and so I was like, I just got to, I would have kept going until I gave birth, but I was like, I've just got to stay in for a bit. You guys are nuts. And then giving birth, I felt a bit out of control with it. Like I'd done all the things that you needed to do, but I didn't really feel like anyone was listening to me that much. I think a lot of people were away because they had COVID, and so people had been drafted in that hadn't worked at the hospital for a long time. It was a slightly chaotic time. But there was a point where the way we phrased it is that Bobby fired the midwives and said that they had to leave, which sounds nuts now. And it felt really nuts. But it was a thing where I have PTSD and there's like a bit of trauma, and they were so brilliant in the build up to it with it, because there was a lot of anxiety about giving birth because of people being in that area. And it felt like no one was listening to me in this moment. And
that's not nice.
No.
But he fired the midwives, and then it was like a bit of we were like, oh no.
So the midwives were fired, but then who did you get another one?
Well, they said there isn't anyone else.
There's Janice the cleaner. She can help you. She's seen it all before.
Yeah. So I was just looking at Bobby being like, I think this is out of your capability. But no, then this brilliant midwife, and everyone's just trying their best, but yeah, it was very stressful. But we then I got this brilliant midwife. But like, I was meant to have an epidural, but because I got induced, I didn't want to, but I got induced, and then I heard that can be more painful and it can be more difficult. So I was like, well, I'll get an epidural. But I was saying I was in labor, but no one was listening to me. And then by the time it was to get an epidural, they said it's too late. And so I couldn't have one, which was fine ultimately. But it just felt stressful. And then anyway, we had this amazing midwife. But because I think part of the confusion was my waters didn't break. And so Mabel came out in the amniotic sac.
Wow.
We didn't know that at the time. And so she came out, and
the whole sac was just intact, and she was in like a bag of water.
We didn't know that. And so Bobby could see the head, and I went, what does she look like? And he went, don't worry about it, we'll see. And I was like, what do you mean we'll see? And he was like, let's just get it out and then we'll deal with it. And I was like, oh my God, what is coming? And then it was because she was in this sac.
Oh my God.
And it was like this, she just came out, and then they popped.
Do you know what? It's really interesting. Again, there is apparently, old wives' tale, when you're born in the sack, it means that you will never drown.
Well, that's good.
Isn't that nice to know?
I can relax at bath time.
I was going to say, it's
meant to be very good luck, I think.
And good luck.
Yeah.
But I say this because also my niece, who was born in the sack, is a pro swimmer. She's actually she's an amazing, she's 12. She's working towards the Olympics.
Okay,
she
Mabel's
is absolutely, get Mabel swimming lessons.
Oh my goodness.
Like for real. I find that all fascinating. I really do.
I tell you what is also fascinating is how much water comes out.
Yeah.
Like with my first two, my waters always broke when I was like in active labour, like fully dilated. And with Annabelle, I was stood in my kitchen and I heard like a pop. And it was like, Jesus, well, like, how much water? It was all over the floor. I got every tea towel in my cupboard just to try and I was like, God, we need to go to the hospital. And then it just kept pouring out.
And it's nice and warm. It's really nice and warm.
It's like you're pissing yourself.
Yeah.
It's quite liberating. And if you kind of squeeze a bit more. I remember though, as I was going into the hospital, as I was just walking along this corridor, I just looked like something out of Little Britain. I was just myself. I was just like, whatever, I can't, my husband was like, excuse me, I think we need to get a mop somewhere. I just didn't care at that point.
That was it. I always thought I'd care, and then by the time I went into labour, I was like ripping my clothes off, like my hair was a stain.
All dignity goes out the window. Just like, I don't care.
They say, don't they, leave your dignity at the door.
Oh, for sure.
And you definitely do. And you get to the point where you're just like, oh, somebody else is coming in to look inside me. Cool. Who's
fine.
this then?
I've just myself. You can clear it up. I don't care. Like my poo's coming out like
we're
toothpaste.
all friends here.
There you go. And when you were, because I have to talk about the show that you were on.
Last One Laughing. It's so funny because I've never been in anything so popular that no one can say the name.
Oh my God.
It's something
everyone's supposed to laugh, but not what they are. Yeah.
It's such a genius idea to just get a room full of really funny people and you can't laugh. You can't even smile, right? You can't do anything. And just the way that everyone was just like sucking in their cheeks.
Yeah, I was pinching myself. I think a lot of them, you can see that we've got sweets in our mouths because we found out that was a trick, especially if you knew you were going to have to sit down and watch something. Like that was a way to try and, but I was just like it just got worse and worse. And I was like, I was literally swallowing my own laughs. It was like very damaging long term, I think.
Is there more to come for that show?
Yeah, they've made another series. So,
yes.
That's
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Next year, I think. So yeah.
And what about you? You got any shows yourself?
Yes, I'm going to be going on tour next year, which is really exciting. So nothing is on sale yet or announced, but it's like in the process of happening. Yeah. So
this is your career. This is what you've been doing for how long now?
Yeah, like nearly 15 years.
Yeah. And how did you get into stand up?
It's really weird. I did like comedy acting stuff, and then my parents suggested it. Like they were like, mad things happen to you and you always have funny stories, like you should go and try it. And I just did. I kept it secret, like from everyone in my life.
Yeah.
It got to the extent I was like lying to my housemates about what I was doing. And I was like living this like secret double life. But it was so exciting. I was just like going to gigs around London, and it never stops being brutal because you always, I was talking about this the other day, another comic, you're like, you can always be, at any moment you can be humiliated. Like it's like you're always on the other side of it.
Like motherhood.
Like motherhood, that's it. So it's like, it's so rewarding and brilliant, but like sometimes it just doesn't, for whatever reason, just occasionally, they're not into it.
Are you using some content as being a mother now into your content on stage? Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, it's chaos and hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not, it's like, it's a mix of, I just find it really hard just not to, I've become such an oversharer. I think when I was younger, I just always had so much shame and I was so shy and embarrassed about everything. And I found such a freedom through just speaking honestly about things. And so
amen. That's why we're here.
Cheers to that.
Do you have any other stories about other mums at nursery? You don't have to say their names, but there are any yeah, you do. Tell us.
I don't know if I have any stories about other mums at nursery. There was a thing with Mabel, you're talking about friends and stuff, when she was 2, like she's got like a little girl gang and they're so cute, but they all started saying you're not my best friend.
Oh my God.
You're not my best friend.
That is the biggest cuss.
They're 2 years old. This is crazy. How is this happening already?
And it's like, it's real and it's and it's a real thing. You're not coming to my party.
Yeah.
You're not my best friend.
And she'd come home and she'd say, their friend said, she's not my best friend. I'd be like, I can't, like, that's so upsetting. And I'd like, what did you say to her first? And she'd say, I said, you're not my best friend. And you'd be like, well, there we go.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But you want to be able to, like, you want your kids to be friends with another child, another girl that you can be friends with their mum.
Yeah.
So then if ever this scenario happens, like, Annabelle and such a person, it sounds like they've had a bit of a day today, and you're kind of working together as a parent. For me, that would be ideal. But it really petrifies me, the thought of them being teenagers and falling out with other kids, and you can't get involved, can you? No. But you don't want them to go to school being unhappy because they're like your little princesses and want to wrap them in cotton wool forever, and they just treat you like my daughter already. Just if I dress her in something and she don't want to wear it, she will just take it off. She's like, no. I'm like, oh my God, excuse me.
Yeah, I had visions of having a girl after 2 boys. I'm like, she's going to wear this and she's going to be this lovely princess. And then to actually what she wants to wear, she looks like she's an extra out of Annie.
She's stylish though.
Harriet, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being so honest and raw and open and brilliant. And like, honestly, the story about your penis and lost vagina.
If anybody watching, please get in touch.
We're trying to
find her.
We think you're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here. It's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. We're so grateful to have you all as part of this amazing community.
Absolutely. And a massive shout out to our fantastic sponsors, Card Factory, for making this episode possible. Please keep those parenting fails coming, especially your Halloween ones, as we'll be reading them out in our special episode at the end of the month.
So if you've enjoyed today's chat, be sure to give us a like, leave a review, and share this episode with all the fellow mum mates that you have, especially in the WhatsApp group. And don't forget to subscribe to No Parental Guidance for more mayhem and no judgment every single Monday.